I love to see the towns passing by and to ride these rails neath God's blue sky. Let me travel this land from the mountains to the sea, 'cause that's the life I believe He meant for me. And when I'm gone and at my grave you stand, say God called home your rambling man.
Welcome to Rambling Man Podcast number 117. This one is with Lenike Sundström. She's based in Copenhagen. We connected via Instagram. She's a very talented artist and motion graphics person. It's great to have her on. Add to the international queue of people who have appeared on Rambling Man. If you would like to learn more about her, you can find her on her website at lenike.dk, lenike.dk. And you can also follow her on Instagram at lenike_dk, lenike_dk. Make sure to tell her Rambling Man sent you. Sponsor this week is Feral Giant. Feral Giant is a graphic design, illustration, and social media consultation company based here in Knoxville, Tennessee. So they do work for clients big and small all over the country, all over the globe, in fact. But they also do photography, videography, video editing, and audio editing, website design, SEO, writing, content development. Hell, they'll babysit your kids if it nets them money. So make sure you give them a follow on social media on either Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, or LinkedIn at @FeralGiant. And be sure to give them an email today and hire them for your next project. Without much further ado, here's the episode.
I will say I've got a friend who lives in Denmark.
Really?
That he's from Iceland. Yes.
Yeah.
And now I'm... here's how we'll just go. It just kind of goes. So a little backstory: in high school, my football coach was either my geography teacher or history teacher. I don't know, because I just showed up to class. He was like, "Okay, cool, you're here. Go to the weight room." And so when it comes to geography, I am dumb. Like I am. So I don't know how big Denmark is. Like.
It's pretty tiny. It's really small. It's, I think it's about the size of Arkansas, actually.
Oh, okay. Okay. And
it might be smaller.
It's the population.
I think that's about it.
Okay.
5 million.
Okay. Okay. So you're probably not going to know. I know he was working the sound at a Mogwai show like a week ago.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah.
His name is Arnie. He's originally from Iceland. He grew up, I don't know if you know the band. Do you know the band Sigur Rós?
Yeah, I do a little bit, yeah.
So he went to high school with those guys.
Yeah, but they're like 200,000 people up there. I mean, it's so small. It's like a mid-sized city, Iceland. Everybody knows, everybody's related. And I mean, considering how small their gene pool is, they all look amazing. I mean, they're just beautiful, beautiful people. And you'd think they'd look like European aristocrats. Most of them are pretty inbred. And not necessarily, it doesn't really manifest in the best of looks always.
Right.
But
I am from East Tennessee.
People, they've got something going on up there.
I am from East Tennessee. We know about East Tennessee, Alabama, some of those not straying far out of the gene pool. Like,
no.
If you ever want to go down a rabbit hole, there's a type of person called a Melungeon.
A Melungeon.
Melungeon, yes. And it's these weird backwoods people that it was like Native American people, black people, white people, people from other country, everybody in this one community, but they all stayed within that community.
Oh, well, it sounds like a good starting point, though. But then,
once it got down to about the second or third generation, no.
I understand. Yeah.
But my great grandfather was married 6 or 7 times, and he had like 25 to 28 kids, and one of the women was from the Melungeon.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
So I'm trying to think, two or three kids. They were very olive complexion, big flat noses. It was wild. Like, then there's us who were all the tall people. It's very weird. It's very weird how all that works out. But yeah. Okay. Are you originally from there? Or
I am Danish. Yeah, I am. My dad's British.
Okay.
But yeah, my mom's Danish, and I grew up here.
Okay. What did your folks do? Like, how did England, British, and Danish meet?
I'm from '78. My dad was stationed with the Royal Air Force on an Air Force base, and I think he was 33 when he met my mom, and she was like fresh out of high school. She was like 18, so that'd be like borderline controversial today.
Yeah.
And he just basically, like, he was a DJ at a local disco, and I imagine them like playing Boney M and stuff like that. And he just swept her off her feet, and she fell like madly in love with him. And they were together for 5 years, and they lived in London, and they lived in Denmark, and then she became pregnant, and then he just beat it. I mean, he left her. Yeah.
Really?
So yeah. He's a real pirate, my dad. Yeah. And then he hooked up with, actually, while she was like 3 months pregnant, he hooked up with another young girl. And when he first met my mom, she was 18. He had told her he was 28, because I guess he thought it was a little, I mean, and then when he met my now stepmom, who is actually she's really nice. She was like 16, and then he would have been 38, and he told her the same. Like, so he was a real rascal, that man. Yeah.
You were worried about being too non-interesting to be on the show. Look at this.
I don't know. But it's a real. It has shaped me somewhat, because my mom was like, she was coming into her own. I mean, she was starting as she was studying when I was a kid, and she was like a passionate feminist. She was very feminist, and it it influenced me a lot, and she also tried to, and I think she wanted me to have the options to do whatever I wanted, and to be whoever she'd always put me in this unisex garb, like this brown corduroy, real 70s stuff.
Yeah.
And I just wanted glittery princessy stuff.
Oh man.
She's toned it down a bit over the years, but I mean, when she studied English literature, and she wrote her, what's it called, her thesis, or on I think on feminist literature and escapism. So it was like, what's her name? That author who wrote the She-Devil, and Faye Weldon, and Margaret Atwood, stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
God, this is gonna be so. It's funny, on the radio show that I did, I would give people homework, like music and stuff to listen to. So I will give you one name. Is your mom still with us? Is she still?
Yeah, she is. Yeah, she just retired. She
Okay.
taught high school for it's like 30, 40 years, something like that. Yeah, 30 years. Yeah.
Okay, if I can give you a name to pass along to her, if she likes poetry, Nikki Giovanni.
Nikki Giovanni. Yeah.
So Nikki Giovanni is a black feminist from here in Knoxville.
That's cool.
Teaches at UT. I think she was the National Poet Laureate under President Obama. Like, she's a badass.
That's cool. Send me send me a message with the name as well. Yeah. But all that literature, it was on the shelf while I was growing up, and I'd read it because it was chock full of sex, and that's when you're a teenager, or it motivated me to read a lot. Okay. Obviously, like, there's the political aspects, but also some of it's pretty juicy stuff. I mean, some of it's fairly incomprehensible, but some of it's quite accessible, and there's I've read a lot of that.
That's the difference between boys and girls. For me, it was war. I was reading about World War II in Vietnam, and I was also reading like Kerouac, and I have to go out into the world and find myself. That's what I was reading. You were like, ooh.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I probably could have read stuff like that, but that just wasn't what was on the shelf in my like growing up.
Yeah. What? Yeah. I'm trying to think of how to say this without sounding like an arrogant American, but America is such a bastion for like music and movies and TV, and all that. Like, how much crept over when you were growing up? Like, were you able to keep up, or did it, because pre-streaming, like, was it later?
It's massively influenced our culture as well. I think we look to America, and I think also it was like the pop culture. It permeates everything, and I think that's probably what the draw was in the first place. Because I was an exchange student as well, and that image of America, it's quite appealing, but it's a little bit more complicated when you actually go and you visit and you see it up close,
Yeah, it's I think on the couple episodes you listened to, I may have asked this question, but I started asking people. I was like, "Do you think America is a good idea?" Like, I started asking some of the people I was interviewing, and one of the guys, Chris Battle, gave me. He's a black man who is a pastor, but he's also a farmer. It was a great interview. If you didn't listen to that one, it was a great interview. But I asked him that, and he was like, "Yeah, if you're a white man," and he kind of broke it down. And I was like, because I always look at it as not pie in the sky naive, but the idea is a good idea to be free and don't give a crap what you believe in. Come here, we give a shit about you. That's a good thing. But then it's 2/3 of a human. Women don't have rights. All that's. I was like, but he said growing pains. He's like, all this is growing pains. He's like, we'll get there.
I think you have to like, sometimes it baffles me. Like, sometimes Americans express themselves as if America is like it's a stasis. It's like the perfect state of things.
Oh, yeah, no.
But you have to consider it like when people say, for instance, my God-given right to bear arms. That baffles me, because I mean, if God had actually dictated the Constitution, I mean, the amendments in itself, an amendment is in essence a correction and something that you left out in the first place, right? Something that you could. So if God had dictated the Constitution, wouldn't it have been right like the first time around? Would there have been need for amendments? So I think although I think the Constitution is amazing, I think and I do think America is great and has I think you have to consider it a work in progress always, and not just like, oh, this is like the ultimate utopia of what could be.
Yeah, there was a black, with all this shit going on with abortion right now here, there was a black woman that tweeted and said something like, abortion's not in the Constitution. You know what else isn't? Me.
Yeah. I think I saw something to the effect of that. Yeah. It's right there in between semi-automatic weapons and women. Yeah.
I'm a weird, what's it called? Hypocritical, to where like I understand our issues, but I kind of feel like it's our issues. And I've heard comedians saying whenever they go to another country, the first line they learn is, "I'm sorry, I'm a stupid American." I was like, stop doing that. Stop doing that. Just be you, man. Don't just be you. Stop with the apologizing, man. Just live. So you, before we get to exchange, so did you do exchange in high school or college?
In high school, yeah.
Okay.
I should have done college, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you were like growing up, you said your mom was a teacher? And she was an English teacher, I assume?
She was, yeah.
Okay. Was art something you were into, or did she encourage like hobbies and stuff in you as a kid?
Yeah, because we didn't have a lot while she was studying, obviously we didn't have a lot of money. And she said, I mean, it was so cheap to just give you drawing utensils. So it was, and I guess I really liked it. And I could keep myself occupied for hours just drawing. Yeah.
Do you have any brothers or sisters?
No, I'm like, well, my father, obviously, he had 2 kids before me. And he was married but separate, not divorced when he met my mom. He didn't mention that. And then he had 2 kids after me. So he's got 5 kids and my mom's got me.
He's a scoundrel. He's a scoundrel.
He's a real scoundrel. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Where were we?
Oh, I was going to say, were any of your siblings into art or anything like that?
No, not at all. No, not at all. No, it was just me.
Sports?
Pardon?
Did you play any sports growing up?
No, I didn't. Well, I tried, but I was never very good. I did try a bit of basketball because I have the height for it.
Okay.
And also I did play basketball when I was in the States. I mean, they recruited me right away because I think I'm like 5'10". I'm 182 centimeters. So yeah.
Okay. Okay. So you're in high school. So you're kind of messing with art. Was there a point in your life that you're like, this is something I would like to explore? Like, was that fostered in you in the school?
I don't really think it was a lot. I felt fairly clueless as to how I could apply it into, like, how I could make it into a career or a prospective path. And then my uncle, he had the connections to a small animation studio. And it was like back when it was cell animation, basically. And I went there and stayed there for a month, and they offered me like an internship so I could stay on, but then I had discovered there was like an animation school that took that had courses, and so I started doing that because I wanted to make a living, and I didn't really want to go to school for a long time, and this was like a course that took like a year, and so I thought, well, this seems good. This studio already sort of offered me a prospect, and maybe I want to learn it from the ground up. But I think if I had more clout, or if I had a better idea, I probably would have studied graphic design.
Okay.
Yeah. I just wasn't aware of the opportunities.
So I can't remember if I've told this story, and God, I should make certain a checklist of drinking games. If I mention this, drink. If I mention this, drink. But like I was very fortunate when I was 13, my high school had vocational classes. Upholstery, woodworking, auto mechanics, but one of them was graphic arts and printing.
That's great.
And there were only 2 computers in the entire school because this was 1992. And I was like, I want to work in computers, so I'm going to take print shop. And I took print shop, and that's how, like, I thought about that the other day. I heard somebody talking about they have a kid that's 8 years old and is already talking about wanting to take a gap year between high school and college.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, it's kind of wild now that we just set up kids like in high school, like to already be on a path of what you want to do when you're still a kid. Like, I got very lucky. And I realize how lucky I am. But there's a lot of kids that are not that lucky. So
that's true. Yeah.
Yeah. I think about that a lot. So you're in high school, you get to do foreign exchange. And is that when you ended up in Arkansas?
That is when I ended up in Arkansas, in Searcy, yeah. And, you know, I did go to Tennessee a couple of times.
Okay.
Yeah. Obviously.
I'm trying to remember where Searcy is.
So it's sort of like, it's north of Little Rock, maybe like an hour and a half.
Okay.
Drive, yeah.
Has it got like a little downtown square?
I can't actually recall. It might have.
I might have to look this up. So I have only been to Arkansas once, and I was in Memphis and visited a friend, and he lived in this small town that was north of Little Rock, and I think it may have been Searcy. I'm not kidding. I think it may have been Searcy because it had this nice little downtown. He was a radio DJ for a country station, and we went and had lunch.
Well,
Oh, sorry.
I lived outside. I lived in like little, I lived in Judsonia and then in McRae. So that was like little itty bitty towns on like outside of Searcy, but yeah.
And I remember I passed through a town called Bald Knob, and I had to stop and take a picture of the sign that said Bald Knob.
Bald Knob, yeah.
Arkansas, I just remember it was very flat.
It is, yeah.
Barren. Like, just, holy crap, there is nothing for miles.
No, that's true. It's very rural. And yeah, it's not like a really inspiring landscape, but there are parts that are really pretty.
Yeah.
I remember going places, but I wasn't really, like, I didn't, you just got into the car and the host parents would drive and then you'd end up somewhere. So I'm not that, I know we went to Hot Springs and I know there's like, there's some more like, what's it called? Where mountains, like small mountains up north, I think.
Yeah.
But
I think up in the northeast corner is where Walmart was started in that town.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah.
It's more like Ozarks. Kind of getting into
I think that's we've probably visited up there. The Waltons, that's right. They're from Arkansas.
Yeah. There's some crazy art museum there that one of the kids is really into art. And there's this crazy, amazing museum there. But it is like, it's so funny, like Knoxville to Memphis is, Tennessee is essentially like California on its side. Like it's such a long state.
Wide, yeah.
Yeah, and I always laugh that friends are like, "Oh, I'm going to visit Memphis. Do you want to come over?" While I was like, "It's like 6.5 hours away, man." That's not close. Like, but it's even worse. Like, I think going up to Searcy was still like 3 or 4 hours, and then trying to go up to where the Waltons were was like, holy crap! It's a ways. It's a ways.
Yeah.
Okay, so y'all went over to, so you just got in the car, but you don't really know, like, did you make it to Memphis, Nashville?
I did go to Memphis because I did go twice. And one time was for like this Southern Baptist convention.
Wait, I got to do that.
No,
do the raised wave hands. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if it's a bad form to ask, but are you religious? Are you agnostic or open?
I read everything when I was in college. I can't give a one word answer. That would be too
No,
simple.
I don't. It's
uh,
deep.
I read everything when I was in college. I read the Satanic Bible, the Catholic
Really?
version Bible. I read the Quran, the Torah, books on Buddhism. I read the Bible like 3 different times. And what I found out at the end was it's between you and whatever you do or
Yeah.
believe in. And it's nobody else's business. And
No,
that's not a shitty answer, but it's like, I just look at it as like, because down here it's like, what church do you go to? I was like,
yeah. It's implicit that you attend. But yeah, well, it was very. It was. It was. There was a whole lot of apocalyptic.
oh yeah.
It was quite dark, and it was a youth convention, a
Oh.
Southern Baptist youth convention.
I will say I can guess from that it was a white Southern Baptist Youth Convention, because if it was a black convention, it probably would have been a lot more fun.
I don't know. I think it was probably mostly white. Yeah, I think I don't know if it was exclusively white. I think it was a fairly white church that my host parents attended, but I don't think it was like exclusively white.
Right.
It was not a lot of fun, I can say. And then I've been to Graceland, and
What did you think of Graceland?
More fun. Pardon?
What did you think of Graceland?
I thought it was nice. It was a nice. I liked it. I liked being transported back to the 70s. I like that. The decor is quite something, and there's a lot of story. I like it as a tourist destination. It was good, I think.
It was a lot smaller than I thought it would be.
That's true. Yeah, like rich people in America today have like vastly bigger houses and more money than rich people back then. Yeah. But also he had that manager who like siphoned off all of a lot of his money.
Have you seen the trailer for the new movie?
No.
They're making a new Elvis movie, and Tom Hanks is playing Colonel Tom Parker.
Yeah, that's the guy. Yeah.
Baz Luhrmann, who did Romeo and Juliet and Moulin Rouge, is doing it. It looks that
sounds amazing.
The kid does not really look like Elvis, but he sounds like Elvis. Like, it's kind of wild. It looks good. Seeing Tom Hanks and all that prosthetics, though, is so weird.
Yeah, I think they're quite good at it now. I just like doing the prosthetics. I just saw some of that WeWork where I think is it Jake? No, it's not Jake Gyllenhaal. It's that other guy.
James Franco.
No, it's not that guy either.
Is it not James Franco? I thought it was him.
No, it's that guy who's in a band.
Jared Leto.
Exactly. He's the guy, and he was made up to look like that Evan Newman. Yeah. And they did a really good job. Okay.
Yeah, him in the I didn't see House of Gucci, I just saw the trailer, but he had the big prosthetics on in it too.
Supposedly that's not a very good movie, I heard.
I heard it was very bad. I haven't I can't. I ended up watching I think 7 or 6 of the Oscar nominated films the 2 days leading up to the Oscars. And some of it, I was sitting there shaking, just like, can this movie be done? This movie's terrible. This movie's terrible. I hated Licorice Pizza.
Really? I was considering seeing that because, I don't know, it just kind of looks like something that would appeal to me.
It bugged me.
Is it boring?
It's everybody. Well, in it, she's 25 and he's 15. But everybody is so smug and shitty in the film.
Oh.
Like they end up cheating on one another throughout the film. I was like, what? This is supposed to be about their love. What is no.
But sometimes a film can be good even if it portrays shitty people.
I will say the best film I saw last year was the Nicolas Cage film Pig.
Really?
And the trailer makes it look like a John Wick film, like he's going to kick some ass. But it is a film about grief. It's like a meditation. It is a sad film that is beautiful. Like,
Okay.
it stuck with me. It stuck with it, and Drive My Car stuck with me. Both of those films have stuck with me.
You have to send me a message with it.
Okay.
Just
Pig. I've got a little note here.
okay. Do
Pig.
that as well. Yeah.
Pig.
And I'll check it out.
Okay. Okay. So you ended up in how long were you in the States?
That was it was pretty wild because I was there for I was supposed to be there a year, and I was with 3 different host families, and I guess I was kind of I was not maybe the most well-adjusted teenager, but like the first family I ended up with, it was a little bit chaotic, that house. It was they were nice people and they were really generous people, but they had a hard time making like ends meet, and so I moved in with my arts teacher, and well, we didn't really get along, and so the last family I ended up with, also a very nice, like middle class people, working couple, and then after they were like the host family where all the maladjusted kids ended up. So after a while, like when I moved into that house, the Mobleys, the host father, I don't know if well, maybe you can beep out the name. I don't know.
Oh, just call him Smith. Just call him Smith.
Okay, all right.
Smith.
So when I moved into that house, the
Yeah.
Smith household, the host father, he had an exchange student from Denmark before, and he was like, right away, he was like, well, I've had daughters, and I'm just very affectionate with it's just a really paternal relationship, and we'll wrestle around, and I'm like, yeah, nah, I'm not really into that. And so after like a month or so, another exchange student moved in with us, and she was she's a really nice girl. She was this gorgeous Russian girl, how they can be just she had a really close relationship with her dad, so for her it was very comfortable. So yeah. When they watched TV, they would spoon like on the floor in front of the TV, and I mean, she was like 16 and he was maybe 50, and I was like, I was totally clueless because I'd grown up without a dad, and yeah. I had no idea what was appropriate, or but then it sort of started getting a little weird because he would like spend hours just talking to her in her room at night, and then whenever we'd go on rides, he'd have like this comforting hand always resting on her knee, and then like the end of the year approached, and I do have relatives out in California, and there was always the plan that I should go out there and visit them. And then my host mother, she said to me that, oh, well, change of plans. Your ticket to California has been moved forward. And then actually I flew out like a month early or something like that. And to visit with my aunts out there. And afterwards, I have found out from my aunt that my host mother actually called her and was really distressed because she had found a pair of panties in their, like in the in their bed that didn't belong to her. So I don't know if there was anything good. I think for the other exchange student, that Russian girl, I don't think it was anything but like a familial or platonic relationship that she had. But I do think, I mean, it was obvious that this 50-year-old guy had a crush on her, like a really intense crush on this teenage girl. Oh. Yeah, it was a little yucky. Oh. But I don't know if think, like, he may have been in her underwear drawer, but I don't think he ever like molested her or anything like that. She never said anything to the effect to me.
Man.
And I know that, I mean, she visited with him afterwards. And I think they had a divorce, that host family, afterwards.
That's one of those you don't say.
Yeah, yeah. I think they split. Yeah.
God. Okay. Good Lord. But you go to which part of California did they live?
Well, they live in Temecula. It's down by San Diego.
Yeah.
But yeah, my one aunt, she lived outside of, well, it was kind of spread out south of Los Angeles. So my one aunt lived outside of Los Angeles in like a gated community called Moore Park. And then there was Chino Hills and San Bernardino, and then Temecula and San Diego. Yeah.
Okay.
So
it's sad that I listen to so many comedy podcasts that you're rattling off names. I was like, oh, I've heard of that one. Oh, I've heard of that one. Like Moore Park. Yeah.
You really?
Yeah.
You have?
Yeah. I've been out there. We did a photo shoot in Orange County. And anytime I had to travel for work, I'd either go early or stay a few days later so I could explore the city more. So I stayed for like 3 or 4 more days and drove around. I was staying in Burbank, which I think is north of Los Angeles, if I remember correctly, and drove all around Hollywood and all that stuff, and got to go to a lot of record stores and comic shops and stuff. But staying out in Orange County was wild. It was, I think the Real Housewives of Orange County was only like in season 2 or 3 when we were out there. So it was a big deal that we were shooting in the same gated community that Real Housewives was shooting.
It's real affluent.
Huh?
It's really affluent down there, isn't it?
Yeah. But it was like when we would go out to try and find dinner and stuff, it was like chains or like crappy sports bars or stuff. I was like, man. And then later on, I found out from a friend who lives there. She was like, no, you're going to either find high-end dining. You're not going to really find like some cool mom and pop Italian place or something. Unless you go and Mexican food, you have to go outside of that affluent area.
Probably because the rents are too high.
Yeah, it was very expensive. It was wild. But okay, so you're down there. You went a month early. How long did you stay in California?
I'm actually not sure because it's so many years ago, but we probably stayed a couple of months, I think. And my mom came over.
Did you get to go anywhere like San Diego? Like, what is the big, isn't there a big San Diego Zoo?
I think we probably went there, yeah.
Okay.
I think so.
Baseball, Padres or Dodgers?
No, we didn't. I don't think but we did go to like all like Universal Studios and Disneyland and all that. But and then we went, and I think that was probably the best part was we went on a road trip up to Monterey and San Francisco and Yosemite and like Northern California, and I really fell in love with that. And I have read I read that in high school afterwards. When I came back, I went to Danish high school, and I read Cannery Row, and it was have you read that?
Yep.
Yeah.
I would. There was a period right after college where I would pick an author and just read all of their works.
Really? So you read all of John Steinbeck?
Read all of Steinbeck, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, Cannery Row is a very good book. Yeah.
I really liked it, and the descriptions. Having visited Monterey, it was so vivid in my mind.
Yeah. That's one of my, like San Francisco, I think is my number 2 behind my city. I love my city, but San Francisco, I love that this sounds very pedestrian. Maybe, I don't know how Denmark is, but we don't have good public transportation here in Knoxville. Yeah. It's just too spread out, too sprawling. But like San Francisco, being able to walk or take the train or bus, I love it. To not have to rely on a car or anything, I absolutely love it.
It's fairly well connected. I mean, we have really good public transportation, especially in the cities. In the rural areas, it's not quite the same, but like my mom didn't have a car until she was like 40. So she would basically, and we don't have a car now.
Wow.
So yeah, so we bike or we get around by public transportation, but we'd like a car.
It's, yeah. I got to work on my car after this. It's not all cracked up.
I wouldn't go into town with the car, but if we go outside of town, because parking is a nightmare, but
it's a weird thing that happened. I don't know how much this is getting reported anywhere else, but it's kind of crazy what's happened during the pandemic here is a lot of people from like California and New Jersey and New York and Florida are moving to smaller cities. So we are just getting like bombarded to where houses are going $80,000 to $200,000 over asking price. And they're on the market for a day at most.
Yeah, for them it's small change because they come from such a.
Right.
I mean, the prices are completely different, but yeah.
So like last night we have there's a lot of towns that have this like a first Friday. Every first Friday, all these art galleries open up and you can walk around to them. And I went to it because I had some friends' art up, and I was just like, man, I'm gonna get out and punch these people. Y'all gotta learn how to drive and walk. I was like, good Lord, there are other people in this world, man.
Yeah.
Like it was driving me bonkers. So that's one of those. Is like, man, if this was enough to where I could just walk around or take the bus or take a train or something, I would prefer it. Yeah. But okay, so you stay in California, you go back. That's high school. Did you go to when you went to school? You had mentioned animation a little bit. So was the school
that was after, yeah. That was afterwards.
So after high school, you went to, was it purely animation school or was it a college with different things?
It was pretty much like animation school. They had clay, what's it called, with the Play-Doh? Stop motion. And then they had like classic animation where you basically flip but I think what I got most out of was like the solid drawing class, how to use perspective and volume to basically be able to draw whatever you'd like. So
yeah, okay.
That's but it was only a year.
It had set foundations outside of the computer, so you got a good base.
Yeah, it did, but it was also like right on the, 3D animation was not that big. It was right around the time when I think one of the first Toy Story movies came out. It hadn't really broken through yet. Like the first feature films in 3D hadn't really come. And, when you look back at those films now, back then we were blown away, but some
of the shading on that first film and the shadows are like, good God Almighty, like they're brutal. And then you watch like Toy Story 4 or some of the newer ones where they do it with hair and stuff, and it's absolutely.
I think maybe they could have sometimes taken creative decisions where they could have maybe not gone for such a realistic look, but gone for something more like cel shaded or more No, I think they're amazing. Yeah. They're amazing. They've always been amazing, and we were blown away back then. But some of the stuff they've done since is just like, I just watched that Turning Red. The new Pixar.
Yeah, I am way behind. So I have taken my little sister to see every Pixar film. She's almost 12 years younger than me. So I've taken her to every Pixar film since Toy Story 1. And we are woefully behind on seeing. I am stubborn and I will not see one before we got to see them in a row, but we are like 4 or 5 movies behind because they released I think 3 or 4 movies during the pandemic, and we were already like 1 or 2 movies behind at that point. So I told her, it's like, you're just going to have to come to the house one day and we'll have a movie marathon. And I'll cook or something. I don't know.
I think, yeah, I think the ones I like the most are the ones where they've taken really, like The Incredibles, really bold design choices.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
See, I'm
Turning
more.
Point is just satirical. It's just really funny.
Okay. I am more the Monsters Inc. is still
Oh
the
yeah, that
one.
is great. Yeah,
Because
that
that's
is
the
really
first one where they really kind of tackled hair, but it was just the heart of that film is so good.
yeah, that's true. Yeah.
But we'll keep going. But I got to tell you this funny story. My buddy Michael May, who's a big dude too, that lives up in Minnesota, he had the best comment after it was Toy Story 3. And he went and saw Toy Story 3, and he was like, Pixar, you've been trying to make me cry for 15 years. You finally succeeded, you bastard.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I remember sitting in the theater with my sister watching Toy Story 3 going, I'm not going to cry. I can't cry in front of my sister, man. It's like, son of a bitch. It was like punching my leg, like, damn it to hell, man. But the spoiler alert for God, that's been 10 years, I think, since that movie. When they thought they were going to die, that was the first one. I was like, oh. But then the end when Andy gave away the toys, that was the point where I was like, fuck. Like just, oh my God. Yeah. And that opening scene of Up is still one of the greatest things ever put to film.
Oh, what is that? Oh, what is that? It's not in the Boy Scouts. At the Boy Scouts, what happens? No, that's with the wife where she dies. Oh, that yeah. I was totally like dissolved into a puddle of like snot and tears, and having watched that,
I think my
that
sister
really
was.
rips your heart out.
I think my sister was just young enough where she didn't understand about the barren part, and I had to say,
Yeah,
I had to turn and be like, she can't have kids.
yeah. Oh,
Oh, I was like, yeah. We're just starting this movie. Oh my God.
yeah.
Okay.
That's great. It's so funny how they pair like the comedic with the threat. It's just really, really good. It's a ride every time, isn't it?
Yeah. So you go to college for that. Did you say you also did an exchange program in college?
No, I didn't. I wish
Sorry.
I had gone. Like I wish I had gone later on when I was, older and more mature.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, and also I think like there are a lot of really great schools in the States. Probably wouldn't have been able to afford it though.
Well, it's that weird, like, it's that weird transition in like the last 20 years where it used to be you probably could have afforded it. Like it would have been expensive, but nothing like it is now. Like it's
No.
like let's say if you were going to like USC for film, it may have cost, let's say, $30,000 back then, whereas now it's probably like $400,000 or something.
So 30,000, would that be for like a semester or for like
But I meant the whole time
the whole
because
thing? Okay.
I went to community college here, and when I was going to community college, my first semester was $385. My first semester, and
Wow.
to go to University of Tennessee, the state school, I think it was like $2,000 a year. I think, or maybe a semester. Maybe I think as a semester. So that would have been what, $16,000 to go for 4 years.
That's fairly reasonable.
Mine was 385. I went an extra year in community college to take some advanced classes in sociology and psychology and statistics, and I think it was like my last semester was like $515, and I was cussing about that. I was like, "What the? It's so expensive! It's so expensive!" I was like,
But
nothing.
today, even the state colleges, is that even more expensive today too?
Yeah, I think it's like $20,000 a year, I think, to go to.
Okay, so they just don't subsidize it like they used to.
No, You
Oh,
can
that's
try for scholarships and stuff, but even that's getting harder. So I'm going to try and tell this as succinctly as possible. Community college is free. Community
okay.
college is free.
That's cool.
So I worked at a company called PedSafe, and my boss was real big on like kids should be able to go to college if they want to. So he started a nonprofit that allowed for kids to like do a little program when they were in high school, like, do some essays and really prove that they were going to work when they got in college. And then if they got the thing, they could go to college for free.
Yeah.
Community college. So then it would be 2 years of community college for free, and then you just pay for 2 years at the state school.
Okay.
Or if you just want to graduate from the community college. And then he finally worked with our governor and made community college free for your first 2 years for any kid in the state of Tennessee.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah. And then I think President Obama tried to do that countrywide, and maybe he did do it countrywide, and it got pulled back because they said it wasn't worth it. I was like, that's stupid.
Yeah, it is.
Allow kids to go to community college.
Yeah.
Geez. And so my former boss, he is now the president at the University of Tennessee, the state school here, and he has been trying his butt off to make it a lot easier for like the high school I went to was very rough and very poor, and allow those kids to be a chance to go to UT now. Because when I graduated high school, there was only a handful of kids that went to a 4-year university. Most of the kids went to work right after high school. And now I had to go up there and do interviews for kids. Like they did dummy interviews. And like out of the kids I met, probably 2/3 of them are going to UT, the state school. And I was like, this is awesome. This is amazing. Yeah. Good for you. Yeah. I'm so proud and happy that my school is, that it's finally gotten, it's still rough school. If you mention it here in town, people go, oof. Because it's still pretty brutal. But yeah, it's, so how is it over there? Is it like we hear over here that it's Mecca and you get to go for free and all that?
That's pretty much it. Yeah. Yeah. I could have become a lawyer and not paid $1 in tuition. I know. But then I just wanted, I don't know. It does feel kind of stupid that I didn't get a degree. I was in a hurry, man. I wanted to go out and make some money and, build something. And, my mom had been a student all my childhood and she'd gone to university. It took her, longer than usual because she was a single mom as well. So yeah, I think I had that sense of urgency. I just wanted to go make my way. But yeah, sometimes now I wish I had gone to school more.
And it's weird in this world now, there's all these like certifications and stuff. I keep seeing friends that are in like UX and UI. And
oh yeah,
they're constantly getting like certifications and stuff where they do some program for like 3 months on their own time.
That's what you want to get into if you want to make money. Yeah, there are so many available jobs for if you're a UX designer. Yeah.
Well, see, so I have been asked a lot to go to schools and talk to kids, and my thing is about when I go to my own school and talk. Go about twice a year. It's you can make a living in art, like doing art. You can if you want to. It's like I know you work here. There's a factory here right outside town called Denso, where they make like automotive parts. It's like you don't have to go work at Denso on an assembly line. You can make money in art. You just have to work harder than the kids from the rich side of town. You have to work at it, like because you don't have a safety net. It's like, but if you want to make money in art, here's how you can do it. And that's my big speech to them. It's like, you can do video, you can do whatever you want to do. Figure out what you love to do and do it. And just work your ass off at it. Like, it's like, I know I'm a big goofy white dude, but I went here. I got in enough fights here and had enough guns pulled on me and saw enough drugs. I was like, I'm not some hillbilly. Like,
I
okay.
think as much as I've always considered myself more of like a crafts person than an artist.
Okay.
I think it's very important for and that's probably the possibilities that I was not introduced to as like when I was a kid. I wish I had. That somebody had said you could become like a graphic designer or or you could become a textile designer or an industrial designer or just like all the ways that you can take a vision and apply it and make it into something that actually has value. And obviously art is that too, but for some that's a little bit too ethereal, a little bit too and not quite concrete enough. But obviously that perspective should be as available as well.
I think so. The place I went to last night is called Able Trade, and it's this group of little, like they have their own little studio workshop, and they're like machinists, fabricators, metal workers, woodworkers, and they build like installations in restaurants and stuff. And one of my friends just built a sculpture that went in the front of a rich person's house that had lights. And
it's the guy you interviewed last week?
No, this is one of the first Friday shows I went to last night. It actually was the guy Josh that he and I talked about art. He was the guy. He's a mess. I saw him last night and I was like, "Are we good?" Like after that little fisticuffs interview. He's yeah,
that didn't come across as It didn't come across as contentious. Not very contentious when I listened to it.
Okay. I said, I think it's hilarious that he wanted us to solve a problem. I was like, there's no problem to solve. I'm just angry about a lot of things. He's like, man, you need therapy, man. What's wrong with you? I was like, nah.
He did call you a fundamentalist, didn't he?
I think so. He called me a lot of things in that episode. There are things that just bother. There are things that bother me and things I let slip. But Richard Prince is one of those. I can't do it. I can't do it. It makes me so angry.
Oh, I don't really know who he is.
Richard Prince is a guy that he first became famous because, do you remember, like this would have been the 70s, they had the Marlboro ads where it had the cowboy photo smoking a Marlboro? He just took those, clipped those out, made them big, and he was like, this is my art.
Oh.
You didn't do anything. Like, and then in the more recent years, he had an exhibit where he took people's like he would take your Instagram post and he would screenshot it.
Yeah, I do think I've heard about that. Yeah.
He would add his Instagram handle and like 2 words, and he printed it out on a big print.
That's a little vile.
He sold those for like $400,000 was the cheapest one, and he didn't give a penny to the original person who did the Instagram post. So that's why I don't like him. I don't like him.
Well, it's a commentary on exploitation, isn't it? I guess.
Yeah. Whatever. I'm going to do the shoveling bullshit, whatever.
At least, it's fairly small scale, but it is. That is pretty bad. That is pretty bad.
Anyway, do you remember the first piece or artist that you saw that made you kind of click into place or take notice?
No, I don't. I think I've been exposed to like art like throughout my life, and I've been visiting museums. I don't know if there's anything that that stands out from when I was a kid, but like I do remember seeing like a William Eggleston exhibition, and I think some of the stuff I've been most moved by has been photography, and especially I think because it's like Americana, isn't it? It's very
yeah.
I think that has moved me a lot when I've seen it. Also, Gregory Crutzen.
Okay. Do you know Walker Evans?
No, I don't.
Okay. So there was a book called Let Us Now Praise Famous Men, where it was James Agee, who who was from here in Knoxville, and I think it won a Pulitzer. Like, I think it won every award it possibly could, and Walker Evans, and they were going to do an article for Life magazine, I think, where they went around very rural and poor communities in like Alabama and stuff, and they ended up doing these interviews, and they ended up turning it into this big book that won every award humanly possible. But Walker Evans is the guy. Yeah, there's all kinds of photographers that I've ended up finding I really like. Some of them have ties to here. Some of them, was it Dorothea Lange? Is that her name? Who took the woman, the very famous photo of the woman from the Dust Bowl where she's kind of looking forward and has the kids beside her?
No, I'm not. I don't really know that.
That's a big one. That it seems like a lot. I found a lot from that era were very good. The Dust Bowl era photography.
Yeah. This is like, I guess, Gregory Crutzen he's contemporary, right? And
yeah, I think
William Eggleston is like back in the 70s.
Because I actually talked to a friend of mine who's a photographer. Ironically enough, in Western Kentucky, there's a small college that has like the best photography program in the country.
Wow.
And my friend went there, and he and I were talking about Eggleston. I was like, man, I like this stuff, but why is this stuff the stuff? Why is this the one? And he was like, because he's the first guy who used Kodachrome and really used saturated color in photography.
Oh.
And he was like, a lot of art photography before that was black and white. He was the first one to actually use real, like, Kodachrome and color photography. That's why it's the richness of it. It's the color seeping through, and it's the saturation. Yeah. That's why it means something. I was like, boom, done, got it. I knew I liked it. I didn't know why I liked it. And you just explained it. Yeah, I
think I don't know. The motifs, they're just so, they're so everyday pedestrian. It's like, and it's so much like small town USA. And he really turns something that's not necessarily that pleasing to the eye into something really aesthetic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it'll be like a grocery store parking lot.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He and I, that friend, Sean Pointner is his name. He and I got into a long discussion about, this was one night, he and I smoked cigars and drink bourbon and bullshit. And there was one night I told him, I was like, man, it's weird how photography, I feel like, is being devalued right now. Because back, now you're thumbing up through Instagram and you're passing by photos that would have been groundbreaking on the cover of National Geographic 50 years ago. That now it's like, man, it doesn't deserve a like.
It's true. There's a lot of great photography. It's just that the technology that's accessible now to everyone.
Yeah.
It's ubiquitous, isn't it? It's I think, but there are some people obviously have the eye and some not so much. But like one of my old colleagues, she's a really talented photographer, but she just works in graphic design, and just like when she photographs her family and it's just really beautiful.
I talked to him a lot. I said, I think when it comes to photography, something that doesn't get acknowledged enough is luck. I was like, getting luck on, like, if you're doing like natural light photography, getting the right light and everything. Sometimes it is just a series of fortunate events that leads to that photo. That if it, had been 5 minutes earlier, 5 minutes later, because I always think about one of Ansel Adams' kids told a story about how they were driving and all of a sudden he just stopped. And he was like, I got to get this shot. And he assembled his equipment, because back then you had to assemble the equipment on top of the car, and got it and got the plunger. And right as he hit the plunger, as he released it, the sun went down behind the mountain. And had he been a second earlier, a second later, it wouldn't have been as good. But that 1 second, like, there's something to be said. There's something to be said in being smart enough to realize that, but also sometimes things are just fortunate. You're fortunate.
A lot of composition goes into a good photograph as well, though. Yeah. I must admit, I'm not much of a photographer myself. I think had I gone to art school, though, I probably would have been at least a mediocre photographer.
Well, what I tell all those kids is you have a film studio, a camera, a computer in your pocket.
Yeah.
Unlimited possibilities. You just kind of keep trying and working on it. Okay. I think I first found you, and I was trying to remember this when I contacted you, if you were written up on a blog or if I just found you on the Discovery tab. I think it was the Twin Peaks playing cards.
Yeah.
So those are flat illustrations. So you were more into motion. So what led you to do like more flat illustration work like that?
That was like a side project. I'd been working a bit. I'd been doing Illustrator for a while, like vector art, and I liked it. I've also done a little bit commercially, done a little bit of illustration, book illustration and stuff, and it was just something I wanted to. I've been wanting to do like playing cards for a while because, like when the big poker wave hit, with the EPT and all that. What's it called? WPT, World Poker Tour. They had that program. I really got into playing poker a lot. And there's something about playing cards. I wanted to do initially I wanted it to be like a sailor tattoo set. So like with that style, that tattoo flash style. Yeah. But then we rewatched Twin Peaks, and there's this scene where I can't remember what his name is. It's one of the crooks. He has all the leading ladies laid out like the queens of Twin Peaks. What's his name? It's in season 2, I think.
Is it the guy who owns the hotel?
No, it's not that guy. It's somebody who's like a newcomer to town, an outsider, I think. I think he wants to bomb like the Miss Twin Peaks competition, or he wants to make like an assassination.
Oh my God. Okay. So I recently rewatched it all from the beginning because I watched very early on in the pandemic. I hadn't watched season 3 yet. So I watched it.
I haven't watched that. It's like sacrilege. I don't know. I just can't watch something that's that art house. I don't think.
It is. I can't remember who it was. Some director like Soderbergh or somebody said that's the best thing
really
to come out this year. Like that was the best film to come out.
You like it?
It is the craziest like art piece where I had to, and it's depressing. It's sad. It's vulgar, but it absolutely blew my mind. Although I had friends that watched it week to week, and they're like, we were angry, and I don't want to spoil why, but there's one character that stays on essentially through the whole show that everybody's like, why is this guy here? Why is this guy here? They were so angry. I know who you're talking about, but now I can't pull his. I think I know the actor's name is Chris something because he's been in a ton of stuff. Yeah, that season 2 is weird. Season 2 is
season 3.
No, season 2 where they get into where they add more characters, and all of a sudden Heather Graham is there, and he's in love with Heather Graham, and I don't know. It was all over the place.
I think it could have been. I think it's the result of not knowing how many seasons you can make. It's so you have to kind of keep the suspense going, and then you don't know if you'll get renewed for a new season. So you can't. Ideally, had they known back then, they could go three seasons, and that was fully financed. It probably could have been more of a cohesive work. Yeah. I mean, and they could have wrapped it up.
I have a friend of mine. A friend of mine hates him because he's so abstract and weird. And I was like, oh, that's what I love. I was like, but the thing I love most about Lynch is he said the most daring movie he ever made was this film called The Straight Story.
Yeah, I actually haven't read. I haven't watched that, but I heard it's really good.
It's amazing. It's a G-rated movie that he made for Walt Disney. Disney, and it's about the guy on the tractor. Like,
Yeah,
and it is a beautiful. It's a beautiful film. It
I
is.
have to see that. Yeah.
Yeah. It takes it a minute to get into it. Till as my dad saw it before I did. My mom and dad are weird film nerds. Like, and he was like, once he gets on the tractor, it starts getting good. But you gotta get to the point where he gets on the tractor, because all the stuff before is just whatever. But once he gets on the tractor, he then has these little vignettes where he meets people along the way and talks, and it's great. It's great. But yeah, a friend of mine saw Lost Highway, I think maybe in the theater, and was like, I don't know what that was, and I never want to see another damn David Lynch film. He was so angry at it.
I must admit, I think it was such a big phenomenon back then, Twin Peaks, when it first came out. So obviously it made an impression, and it was something you'd be glued to the TV and you'd watch it every week.
Yeah.
But I'm actually not a big Lynch fan. Also,
really?
because like your friend, I find it a bit too abstract mostly. Yeah. But I did not watch The Straight Story because that's been recommended to me before.
Yeah, I remember it was weird. I went and saw Mulholland Drive in the theater, and that was originally a pilot to a TV show. And somebody recently like uploaded the actual pilot to YouTube, and I watched it, and it looks like a TV show. Whereas the movie looked, he reshot like a big chunk of it, looks like a movie. Like, it was crazy. I was like, huh, it's weird how that worked out. Anyway, David, okay, so Twin Peaks, haven't seen season 3. Season 3 is very artsy. I will say it is very artsy. It's very weird, but has a lot of funny moments. I think, I assume unintentionally funny moments. But.
Oh, really? No, I don't know with him. I mean, I think he can be funny.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Yeah, he's very wry in that. Yeah. But it's kind of funny because him and shoot, I can't remember his name. The guy with the spiked hair, Miguel Ferrer, who was in the original series. The guy who was very angry all the time. The other FBI guy. They get a new FBI agent who's this singer model woman that he's involved with a lot, Krista Bell. And I'm not kidding, they're standing outside smoking, and she like keeps posing. And I'm sitting there watching it going, what is happening? Why is this happening? Because they're just sitting there smoking, and she keeps adjusting and posing, like voguing. And I was like, what is going on? Why is this happening? Anyway.
I do think to some extent, when I watch a movie or a series, I do want to be lost in the narrative a little bit. Yeah. So I want to be transported away, and I don't think I'm not patient enough to just sit in for like a 3-hour artistic experience.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so that I found you through the flat illustrations. But you're still doing like motion graphics all this time, like an animation. So that's still like your main gig, main job.
Well, actually, what I post on Instagram is mostly personal. It's just personal work. What I do, I actually up till last Friday, for 8 years, I've been like in a small graphic design agency or like commercial agency, and we've done a lot of like. I've done banner ads and point of sale videos and TV commercials and just advertising.
Yeah.
Yeah. Loads of advertising.
That's the funny thing in running my own business is telling people, they're like, man, you do all this cool work for these cool people. I was like, yeah, but then you get to see the stuff like this. That's just super boring, but that's the stuff that pays the bills to do all the cool stuff on the side. Okay, so you said until last Friday. So have you got a new job or?
No, actually, I was laid off, but so I'm.
Sorry.
I'm unemployed. No, it's not. It's not. I've been there forever, and I think I was ripe for a change.
Okay.
And because we're such a nanny state, I do have like 6 months of almost like full pay,
That's good.
basically.
That's good.
Well, so we have good benefits, but yeah, I have to figure out. So I'm probably going freelance, I think.
Okay. That's what it's going to be. What is Denmark like? Is it a very artistic like city? Like is it a very creative
Copenhagen?
city? Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, it's fairly, and there's a good motion design community, and quite a lot of like all the big ad agencies have hubs here, and so there's work to be had, and news organizations and editorial work and publishing houses and stuff. So yeah.
Another stupid American question. So do you all also benefit from like the 4 to 6 weeks off every year and get to travel and do things?
We do have like, I think it's basic 5 weeks. Yeah. And then, but that's like, but then you have the holidays on top of that. So the days that are holy are days you also get off. So I guess, yeah, we do have a lot of.
Okay. Do you and your husband travel a bit? Do you get out and?
Well, during the pandemic, we haven't been out, but we have traveled quite a bit. Yeah. We have like whenever we go out, we'll get like a tacky magnet. And so our fridge is full of like the places we've been. So we've been to San Francisco, and I've been to Miami and New York as well. And we've been to Thailand, and we've been to Zimbabwe.
Okay, so not even staying in Europe, just all over.
No, yeah, all over. Well, but it's not that we travel that often. We've also been to London and Rome and Barcelona, and Berlin and Sweden, because my husband's from Sweden. So, so we've traveled a bit. Yeah.
I laugh because I've got a buddy that lives in Scotland, and he and I were talking, and he never travels. And I was like, oh, yeah, I drove over to Nashville for a show. He's like, well, how far away is that? And I was like, about 3.5 hours. He's like, that's so far. I was like, no, it's not. I was like, do you realize London is 3 hours from you? If I was 3 hours from London, I would be there.
Yeah.
I'm like, what are you doing, man? Like, so I'm happy you all get out and actually travel.
There are so many places in the States I'd like to visit.
The South is awesome. Just don't come during the summer. It is brutal. Yeah, I was going to say, when were you here? Oh God, Arkansas is also.
Well, so it was all year almost. So like probably from August to like May or June. Yeah, it was all right, but it was pretty cold during the winter.
Yeah. August though. August is. Yeah.
You've got those big wasps, those big red wasps. And like the first time I saw that, I thought it was like an alien invasion. I thought that's like a tiny spaceship, that is, because we've got like little yellow and black hornets, and they're like about half the size.
Yeah.
We haven't got anything that big.
Mosquitoes are the big thing down here. Mosquitoes are just brutal.
I don't remember it being such a plague.
Yeah.
But Sweden's got the mosquitoes bad.
Okay, so is there anything you would like to see more of in art, in general, just in general?
God, I don't know. I don't know that I've never really formulated that to myself, that question.
And it could be for you, or it could just
probably
be.
I'd like to see more women. Yeah, I'd like to see more women being. But there's a lot of stuff going on there.
Yeah.
Representation as a whole. Obviously,
I think I said to Josh in that is like, I want to see more poor people being able to do art, because it's like, fuck, man, I'm tired. Because that used to be the thing in like the 70s and the 80s. New York was so bad that these artists would be able to get like almost a building to themselves because it was so run down.
Yeah.
Now Like, it's the weird balance of they have Instagram so they can promote and become famous there. They don't have to go somewhere, but sometimes the going somewhere is what makes the art better. So
That's true. Yeah.
it's this weird.
But there's a more direct access to an audience now. I think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. Meaning, I guess there's a lot, I think, with the whole NFT space becoming big, there's a lot of like, I don't know, it's just like, it just seems like sort of a Klondike for like 3D loops. It's a little weird. Yeah.
I've seen, I ended up undone. I guess it's the whole Google hearing what you're saying, because all of a sudden on like YouTube, I got fed all these videos, how to make money in art. Here's all that stuff. And I was like, and I watched like one video. I was like, this makes me sick. I don't want to do this. And it was talking about, shoot, I brought up his name in the London, Damien Hirst. Damien
Hirst, yeah.
Damien Hirst, it was talking about how and it was like, well, what he did was he got in with these people and then he got representation and he made big art. And that's what's made it sell. I was like, no, his name is Damien Hirst. That's what made it sell. The fact that it was a big piece of art didn't mean jack. I was like, that's what made the price go up, because he was Damien Hirst. But it was funny.
I guess I'm not really into the art scene, but I do think it's like, it is like getting in with the right gallery, getting in with the right curator, it does seem there's a little bit of that.
Yeah. Getting the right art critics to appreciate your work. Yeah.
I don't know, it's a wild scene. It's as wild as like the tech startup unicorn thing. Yeah. It's just
we have a thing here called Startup Day. And I will mock them to their face because I think it's hilarious. But I go every year and they'll talk like, oh, we've developed this thing and here's this app. And, right now we're working on this and we think the valuation in 2 years will be $1 million. And then in 4 years, it'll be 10 million. And we'll be able to sell it to a larger company for 35 million in 6 years or whatever.
Oh, no.
And they're doing that, and then if they win $5,000.
That is so depressing, though. Yeah.
But I just laugh because I was like, "You're doing all this saying you're going to make $50 million,
or to compete for a price of $5,000." Yeah. That's ridiculous. Yeah, but also the whole like, where was the I see a need in the market. I want to change things. I want to make things better. I have something on my mind. Like the motivation is just, I mean, it's not that I'm not motivated by money, by all means I am, but it'd be nice that there'd be something else there. I'm also motivated by exploration and constantly bettering myself. And I want to make awesome stuff that looks really dope. And but to just want to leverage that, be able to make something that sort of so you can sell it to some bigger sucker down the road. I mean, it just seems so hollow.
Yeah. So in that, do you still have the fire to create a set of playing cards? Are you still into poker?
I do like to play poker. I don't have as much time now as since I've had kids. Yeah. So I did actually do the full set, but obviously only the what's it called? Like the jacks and the kings and the queens and the jokers have characters on them. So I did do the full set, but I can't get them because of the copyright issues. I can't get them. I can only do like a really, really small print run of them. So I might do that.
Okay. We'll come in. We got 3 more quick questions. Well, I don't know. We'll see. Do you set like goals or a checklist for work you want to do or work you do?
Well, right now I'm actually learning 3D now. Okay. So I'm attending, or I just attended a course at School of Motion, so it's been something I've been wanting to do for a long time.
Okay.
Because it's just like it makes so many things easier to do when you're a motion designer. Even if you do work in a flat style, there's so many things you can do and you can give dimension to it. Or it's I don't know. It's I do. I think I do set goals. I don't know if I'm that explicit about it, but I do work quite consistently on like learning new things, and I think that's probably that's what I like doing the most, like learning stuff.
Okay. And pushing yourself to do something.
Yeah.
Do you know what you would like to do in like the next 10 years? Do you have something like, here's the long-term thing I would like to do?
I want to work as an art director and motion designer with some like and have with a team that makes really great stuff where we can complement each other and I want to be part of, and I don't mind working so much in the in the commercial space, but it'd be nice to do sometimes something that had more of like a journalistic tilt. I'd really like to do something for news organizations, explainers. I wanted to do I'd like to do like a 1 minute explainer about capital in the 21st century, like the Thomas Piketty book. Do you know that?
No. Mm-mm.
It was like a big economy book, and it's very much about inequality and how wealth is how wealth sort of is concentrated today, and how the tax structure sort of supports that. Like, for instance, how like what you pay in income taxes, you probably pay more on what you make by working than what you do by, like, the money you make by owning assets is not taxed as hard as the money you make by working. So people who work a lot and don't have a lot of assets, they pay a lot more in taxes than people who work little and have a lot of assets.
Wow.
So the money your money makes is not taxed a lot. It's like in Denmark, it's like 22%. Yeah. And that obviously creates escalating inequality. And I'd like to make knowledge like that more. It'd be cool to make that more accessible in like a short animated format.
Okay.
That's something I've been.
What was the name of the author? Capitalism in the 21st Century.
Thomas Piketty. He's a French guy.
Okay. Thomas.
He's a French economist, yeah.
Piketty. Okay. I'm adding to my notes. I'm also sending you my friend's illustration company, Vivanel.
Yes.
Rob and Rachel. So that I think of like, do you know the website Vox, VOX?
Yeah.
Like they do the videos. That was the videos where it was like how to make money in art. And I realized how I got there. They did a breakdown on where the 80s style came from.
Oh, really? Yeah.
It was this group from Italy called the Memphis Group.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's so funny. Yeah, that's true. I know that. Yeah.
And I watched that entire video, and that's where all the things fed into the how to make money in art. But yeah, that's what I think of with what you're talking about. It's like, man, that sounds like a Vox video.
And Memphis is like a lot of geometric shapes, really bright pastels, and it's and it's kind of coming back now, isn't it? A little bit.
Well, they were making fun of it and said, and the most uncomfortable furniture you've ever sat on your life.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. We've actually got like a theater building in the center of Copenhagen that was painted in that style. And it's like pink and like sherbet green and peach. And it's a big, people want it to be redone or tore down, and some people just love it intensely. So it's like it's our wedge issue. It's our wedge issue over here.
Sorry, I thought of a side question. So do you all have like a historical society that deems places landmarks to where they can't be torn down?
I just think the state does that for like old buildings.
So
So if
we
you
have
do own
yeah, we have a
something,
group here that does that. There's a
yeah.
nonprofit called Knoxville Heritage that they actually list out like the fragile 15, the 15 buildings that they're worried are going to get torn down,
Oh,
and put that up for historical landmark nomination through the state. I think every year. So
Copenhagen is like a medieval city, so a lot of people actually live in houses that are maybe like 300 years old, and they can't do, like, if they have to do renovations, they have to get a ton of permits in order to do stuff, So that can be hard to navigate, but
yeah. Yeah, some of the historical areas they're having to put in like new windows and stuff, and they have to
yeah,
get the proper historic windows. They can't get
yeah.
newfangled. And a friend of mine was telling me what a pain in the ass that was. Because all you do is add like a 0 or 2 at the end of the number to get the one.
Yeah, it is expensive. That's true. And also those old buildings, they're like really crooked, some of them.
Yeah.
Like they won't have a straight angle in them because they'll have set over the
Yeah.
centuries. I mean, so yeah. So you have to get everything custom made because nothing is perpendicular. Everything's just.
So here's the final question for you. Is there anyone that you would like to work with? Some dream person. It can be like a band. It can be another artist. Who is your dream person or people to work with or for?
Oh, I wish I had listened to more of your episodes so I had been better prepared. But there are a couple of good, really good motion design studios in Copenhagen. There's one called A for Ox.
Okay.
And there's a great studio in Sweden called Brick. And then of course there's like Giant Ant, which is, I guess, Canadian. I'm not sure. So those would be like I'd really like to work with.
But not
so
like
many.
Adidas or Nike or
clients.
Yeah.
For clients, what would I like? Yeah, it would be like The Atlantic or Washington Post or something like that.
Okay.
That would be like it.
I think that's a lot easier than you think it is.
Really?
Yeah, because I've heard illustrators, they say it's a pain in the ass and it doesn't pay a lot. And usually the timetable is pretty quick. But but it's a lot of it is about getting illustrators rep.
Okay, yeah.
That helps with those clients. So my friend that I mentioned earlier, the photographer Sean Pointner, has been Pulitzer nominated a few times for work he's done for the New York Times and the Washington Post. And he gets those not through an agent, just because he went to that school that it was strong photography, but it was a strong editorial photography.
Oh.
So the branches that came off of it is how you got connected. And sometimes it's just knowing the right person. It's how you get in there. So, but yeah, I know a lot of illustrators that the reason why they have done work for Esquire or the Washington Post or anybody is because they have an illustrator's agent or rep that does that for them. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to work with really great like journalists and storytellers, and to do something that like complements journalism and documentaries and stuff like that. I'd really like to, and it doesn't have to be anybody in particular. It's just like I've done a little bit of scripting and copywriting, and I'm not horrible at it, but to work with somebody who's really got away with words and narratives, it's just so much more satisfactory to, like, when you have the visual stuff, to have your own resort or like your own area of responsibility, and you work with somebody who just complements that. Is the audio not good?
No, I'm typing your name in here, so
okay.
Sorry.
All right. So yeah, I'd like that. I'd like that a lot, I think.
Okay. All right. So nobody fun.
nobody. Not particularly.
So mine is always Oreo and Waffle House. Those
Ah,
those are the two.
like a product that I like is if there's like a product that I'm a big fan of, I don't know that there probably is. I, I don't know that
Yeah,
that's something to consider. Yeah.
there you go. Well, now I've put it on your radar, so now you get to think about it.
Yeah,
All right.
I
Well,
will.
thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you.
Nice to actually finally meet you. Air
You
quotes.
too. And I mean, if you ever do come to Copenhagen, I mean, you're more than welcome.
Okay. Uh, so at 6'7", will I feel like I'm amongst my people? Because I know some regions up there are larger people. I'm trying to remember where a friend of mine, her husband is from. I think he's from Sweden.
Yeah, I think we're fairly tall people.
Yeah.
You'll fit right in.
Okay.
There are also some not so tall people, but yeah.
When I
And
first met him, we were on this area called Market Square, and they were coming out of a restaurant, and she saw me, and she went, Jody, come here, come here, come here. And I came walking up. I was like, what? What do you
how
want?
tall are you?
6'7".
Okay, that's fairly tall.
So his name is Auden, Audun. And I walked up to him, and she looked at the two of us, and he was like 6'5". And she was like, damn it, I thought he was taller than you. And I was like, I looked at him, I was like, hi, I'm Jody. And he was like, hi, I don't know what's happening here. We were both just baffled. But she was so excited. She was like, yeah, him and all his brothers are like your size. I was like, oh, you mean normal size? That's normal size. I was giving her a hard time, but yeah. Okay.
Well, I know where the good cigar store is because my rascally dad, he smokes cigars, obviously. So
Nice.
I can I think you'd like it here.
Here, I'll give you an American term. You can hook a brother up. You can
Exactly.
just randomly pepper that into conversations like you're going to hook a brother up. Hook a sister up. There you go.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Jody.